Today we celebrate Labor Day with a classic Labor Day favorite, watermelon. I have here growing a Moon and Stars watermelon. Now the Moon and Stars watermelon is characterized by these little yellow dots you see here. And there's supposed to be one bigger one that's kind of the moon, and these little ones are supposed to be stars. Not quite what has happened here. I've got the stars without the moon. Regardless, I've never successfully grown the Moon and Stars watermelon before, so I'm excited to see the classic information out there about when to harvest your watermelon is that you look at this tendril that is the closest to the melon and see when it is brown and dried out, and that is when you're supposed to be able to do a harvest. So here, my tendril is indeed that, brown and dried out. Another telltale sign is looking at the back of the watermelon and seeing if it has a nice yellow color to this section. It'll be white before it's ready to harvest, and as it gets more yellow and creamy, that is when your watermelon is closer to ripe. And of course, there's always the old thump it to listen for the sound there too. And different people disagree as to what the best way to do it is. But I'll tell you this. If you have spent much time watching YouTube garden channels, you know that YouTube is filled with gardeners who slice open underripe watermelons. And people who don't go on YouTube are doing it all over the country as well. It is hard to know exactly when your watermelon is ripe. And as a rule of thumb, my advice would just be to make sure that you err on the side of waiting too long to pick your watermelon. But since it's Labor Day weekend, and it's a great time to do a watermelon, and here's a funny little thing. Looking at this watermelon, I traced the vine back to see, how it was doing with the rest of the plant. And for whatever reason, my vine is actually cut off right here. And so I don't know if it just, wore itself out because it had finished, if an animal got to it, if perhaps I stepped on it at some point or someone else stepped on it. I'm not sure exactly why or how long it's been cut off here, but it's not going to keep ripening if it's not connected to the rest of the plant. So I'm going to pull it in, and we're going to slice it open, and if it's good enough, we'll serve it at Labor Day for family as we do the typical cookout thing. So let's take it inside, and we'll do a slice open here. Hopefully I won't add to the underripe videos out there. All right, this is that Moon and Stars watermelon we previously talked about, and it's time to cut it open. I'm going to go ahead and cut it lengthwise. I'm not sure it makes much of a difference, but I think that'll be a good way to do it. So we'll just rest it here and put our knife in. Now the way that it is kind of resisting here, there's just something about it that does seem a little underdone. I am glad to see that seed pop out the bottom. That seed looks fully developed. This is what the Moon and Stars watermelon seeds look like. So that's a good sign. I think I'm going to have to spin it over to help cut through it. A little juice coming out the bottom. That's good too. Looks like we might be a little underripe, but actually it is better than I feared it could be. It's more pink than red. I'm not 100% sure what the Moon and Stars is supposed to look like inside, but this looks okay, but still like it could have ripened more. Obviously, in my case, I didn't have the opportunity to do it more, but the reminder is still there that you always want to try to err on the side of letting it go a little bit too ripe before you pick it. I know you get anxious, but that's the better way to go. So let's take a bite of this. You know, it's not like amazing. It is underripe, but it's definitely edible. It's still enjoyable. So I think I will go ahead and serve it. I'm relatively pleased. Hopefully, I'll still get another one or two of these watermelons so I can show you what it really is like ripe, and I can taste for myself what a ripe Moon and Stars is like, and we can talk about that more in a future video, I hope. But for now, have a happy Labor Day, and this is just a good example of why you should always wait a little bit extra time on your watermelons.